So tell us about the people who are watching it, who you are, what you're doing. Microsoft, so many people know it, but if they are not knowing you, so tell us about yourself, and I will comment on your speaking session. You got a good style. You never let the audience sleep in your session. It's kind, it's what you call a quality. You've got it. That's really amazing. So just tell us about your career.
Well, I've spent some time trying to figure out how do adults learn and what's the best way to get them to absorb what you're teaching them and remember it.
All right.
And one of the things that I found out was that emotion is really important. And
right.
Whether you're going to make them cry or make them laugh, it doesn't really matter what the emotion is. Now, I don't want to have people walk out of my rooms crying. I want them to walk out of the rooms having had a good time, laugh a lot, enjoy what they're learning, and remember it. So as many cases as I can, I try to teach through stories.
All right.
And they're stories that either it's my own experience when I was a consultant,
okay,
or stories that other customers have shared with me.
All right.
And these are the things that tend to stick in people's minds. You remember the pictures, you remember the stories, and then you remember the principle behind it. Security can be a little dry, right?
It is.
If you spice it up with the stories and the examples, it makes it interesting and something that people want to continue to perceive as interesting and become better at.
Right.
So that's a large reason why I do what I do the way I do.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think that probably stands out is that I don't like to really stand behind podiums or on stages.
Yeah, I saw you walking among the people.
I want to get down and be among the people.
Yes,
right?
like a singer in the concert is doing that.
Well, I'm the one with the clicker,
all right,
and I'm the one with the PowerPoints, but that doesn't mean that I'm the one with all the answers.
Yeah.
Right? And I want my audiences to feel free to talk back to me, to ask me questions, to challenge me sometimes, which happens a lot in U.S., Australia, New Zealand.
Right.
And I'm totally okay with that. And you get a lot better interaction when you're right down there with the people, because there's not this I'm the leader, you're the follower kind of thing that happens when you have stages and altitude differences that occur there, right? Plus, it makes it a lot easier to tell the stories. Because as I'm telling the story, I can choose someone in the audience, and they become the actor in the story. Right?
They become your victim.
You are the one who sent 10 million email messages, and the audience person is like this, but everybody else in the audience, they love it, and they're simultaneously hoping to be the next person chosen and afraid of being the next person chosen. Right?
It happens quietly.
Yeah.
So when you talk about security, so what's the specific area you work on security? Is it about client systems or servers or a mix of everything? I mean,
well,
anything.
The IT industry in general is kind of divided into developers and admins, or IT pros, but I like to use the word admins. It's the same with security. There's developer security, and there's security administration. My background is more around the administration, the networking side of
IT
things.
pro?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
But lately I've kind of specialized more so in policy and process and understanding about why certain things have to be secured certain ways, and trying to realize that new processes are necessary because of new attack styles and these kinds of things. So I'll never let go of the IT pro roots and my love of those customers, right? But I think security processes and policies are just as important as good technology.
Right. So many times in your talks you talk about good guys and bad guys. So have you or had you ever been a bad guy?
It's not interesting to me, honestly.
All right.
I'm anybody can download a script and hack a web server.
Yeah.
Right? I'm much more interested in defending that and coming up with new ways to maybe predict what the next attack might be.
All right, but you have to think like a bad guy.
You have to understand their motives and methods and opportunities, and be able to think like them, right? But I'm not interested in doing the attacks.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's agreed that there is no scope, there is no career about destructive.
Right.
You're doing the destruction for the community and all that. Rather, you can use your mind for a constructive way.
Yes, exactly.
Agreed. All right, so how do you make yourself keep updating while you're having the sessions around the world and keep updating with the new technologies and all that? Or is it all about you?
The TechEd season runs from June to November. And so during that time, I'm pretty much focusing only on traveling and giving the presentations.
All right.
I use December is a non-travel month for me, so I often will use that to do research and to study things. Then early on through the winter, North American winter, right? January, February, March, I will also use to analyze new things, do some research. I read a lot. I'll install our products and look for ways that maybe they might be abused by attackers and think about how then to defend against such an attack like that. And then generally April and May are content creation times for me. That's when I create the presentations that I will use for that year's TechEd, June through November again.
So so your research done on December onwards, and then 2 months you get to finalize the topic what you're going to speak about.
Yeah.
So this TechEd, what have you been talking about till date?
At this TechEd I did 3 presentations out of my complete set. The one presentation was protecting your friends and family.
Right.
I realized a while back that Microsoft's campaign to improve family safety could be benefited by adding 30,000 additional IT pros as messengers for us. Every IT pro in the world provides free tech support for family, friends, and neighbors.
Yeah.
So I want to give them the messaging that they can turn around and give to the people they support.
All right.
So I actually used the TechEd session to do that.
Okay.
I gave a presentation on protecting mobile data.
All right.
Because data is on laptops and smartphones now, not on desktop PCs anymore.
Right.
We have to think about how to protect that from attack, which is generally through encryption, and I talked about various ways to do that. I also gave a presentation here at TechEd Malaysia this year on security trade-offs.
Yeah,
whenever you implement a security control, you're going to give up something in exchange for that. What does that mean? What is a trade-off? Where in our daily lives do we make security trade-offs that have nothing to do with IT, but are still trade-offs nevertheless, right? Get people to think about this, about the science behind the security. At some of the other TechEds, I'm doing all 3 of those presentations plus a 4th one called the Internet Connected Data Center of the Future, where I am proposing that we eliminate the corporate network as we have traditionally built it, and the perimeter now is only your data center. All clients live on the outside. They're connected via the internet only. There's no internal network.
You mean to connect your corporate network outside?
Well, think about it. My laptop is a Microsoft corporate laptop, but it spends 90% of its time outside the CorpNet, right?
Absolutely, correct.
So why should, for 10% of that time, it look different? Why should I have a different authentication method, a different access method? There's a lot of expense involved in maintaining an internal CorpNet and a VPN and all of these things, right? Just treat it all as external access. So even when I'm sitting in the office, what I get is an internet connection, right? Raw connected to the internet. So all access is through a content inspecting mechanism like Intelligent Application Gateway. All access is HTTPS only. So with a single access method, a single protocol, and a single authentication method, smart card everywhere, I'm simplifying my environment actually. And a simple environment is generally cheaper than a complex environment and also happens to be more secure.
So it depends organization to organization, or maybe department to department, where they have the people in particular department, they're most of the time mobile. So for them it's going to work, and those who are most in
What I do in the presentation is paint kind of like the ideal world of the future, where every data center is internet connected and all computers live on the internet, and all computers, by the way, all client computers are disposable. We're not going to manage them anymore, right? But in reality, what people will have is kind of a mixed world, where some computers are unmanaged, some computers are managed, right? But we have to start thinking again about this, because the data centers that we're building now, the corporate networks that we're building now, use defensive tactics that were invented 15 years ago. The bad guys are getting around it. So again, we have to think about this and start designing our systems appropriately for contemporary attack styles.
So have you been through any designing of networks, some sort of like this?
Well, that's my roots. My roots.
It sounds good. I mean, it makes sense. It's quite logical. I mean, it's a good. I mean,
so I understand that the networks, as they were designed 15 years ago, addressed those needs then. But there is a big political problem with the proposition that I put forth in that last presentation. it actually takes power away from the network guys. And they don't want to lose that power, right? I don't want you to think about it that way. I want you to think about it. If you're a network guy and you're afraid of something like this, first of all, do realize, please, it's coming. You can't stop it.
Right.
So what you can do is look at this as an opportunity for improving and advancing your skills and learning how to concentrate more on host, application, and data security, because that's where it's going to go.
So maybe we can think there will be more opportunity or more solution for hosted-based solution.
That is one option.
Yeah,
yes.
it will grow that market for that.
Sure. And we are seeing a resurgence in, remember the ASP craze from a few years ago? It kind of died down. We're starting to see a resurgence of hosted applications, principally as a mechanism for outsourcing and improving the security.
All right. All right, and since you're in security, have you come across any very stupid kind of experience in your life? Or
any what?
Any funny or any stupid kind of experience in the field?
I would say every time I have to go through an airport and deal with the security theater I see there would be an answer to your question. So much of what they do in airports just doesn't seem to really address the actual threats. One time I was passing through and put my bag on the belt, and I walked through the metal detector, no beep, and I'm watching the guys behind the scanner, and they're all standing there scratching their heads. What is that? Is this your bag? Yeah. We got to scan it again. Why? Well, we couldn't figure out what something was. Okay. So they put it on the belt again, flipped upside down this time, right? It goes through, they're still scratching it. There's something in there we don't know. We're going to check it out more. So I'm expecting them to ask me to unzip it, so they want to look. No, they didn't do that. They take it over to one of those explosion trace things where they put the little chamois thing on the wand and rub it around the zipper. Put that on the thing. Of course, there's no explosives in my backpack, right? So the machine didn't say anything.
Right.
And he hands it back to me. I said, and I actually asked him this question. I said, hang on, let me understand something. There was something in my bag, that you couldn't figure out what it was. And therefore, you decided to examine the zipper. All right, if that works for you, see you later. I walked away. But you see, where does this come from? I don't know. I want to see airports start to get smart about that. And there's so much that you can do there. We don't have the time to talk about it.
Right. All right, Steve. We thank you for your time.
All right, thanks very much. Good to spend some time with you finally.
Thanks a lot. And we'll send you the link for our website.
All right, excellent. Looking forward to seeing you.
Hope to see you again.
All right.
In Dubai. You never know.
Hope so too.
Right.
All right.
So see you then. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye.